We are live now.
Mhm. Well, I have to talk now.
Yes, you have
Okay.
to talk. Okay.
Welcome, everybody. This is the Wisdom Factory, and I'm Mark, and I'm here with
Heidi.
Heidi.
Yes.
Yes, we've been doing these shows for over 2 years now.
3.
Yeah, 3.
Mm.
That long? Wow. Anyway, and we try to every week or so, with a few exceptions, bring very special people to the attention of the people who are watching us and participating in the show. And we do this because these special people have something that they really we can benefit from learning about them. They have wisdom, experience, and knowledge and spirit, that we all need. And so we are very happy to have today Barbara Quick.
Yes,
Yes,
Barbara Quick, who I have got to know about 3 years ago in a Google Plus community. And since then, I was admiring her for what she is. And say hello, Barbara, so people can see you.
Mm-hmm.
Hi there. Hello, everyone.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Today, the topic is what pets can be for older people, because you might see that we are not so young anymore, and we are doing this series, which is called Conscious Aging.
Mhm.
And we want to inspire people to see older age as something which is to look forward to and not to be afraid of.
Yeah.
And that's why we invite people who really can transmit this spirit. And one of that is Barbara. Do you want to say some words about her?
Yes. All right.
Go.
Because, we told people she was very unusual. And part of that is knowing the difficulties that she's gone through. Her husband is ailing and suffering from Parkinson's and maybe some dementia, and she has her daughter's husband's extremely ill and has been for some time, and they're living in poverty, without gas, without electricity, this is really miserable conditions. And she had a son who died, who had very severe mental problems. And all kinds of things are going on in her life. And she is the primary caregiver now for her husband. And last I heard, she has no gas in the house. So
Stovetop.
no stovetop anyway. So
Yeah. And then, when you hear all this, when I heard it, I thought normally people who have all these experience in their life, they are like depressed. And look at her.
Yeah.
Barbara.
What have you got to smile about anyway? Yeah. But there you are, and this is why we're talking to you today. And we should mention dogs.
Yeah, we should mention dogs.
Yeah.
First, Barbara, would you like to add something to that and what is important for you?
Well, a little bit has changed with our daughter. She lives with us now. She and her hubby broke up. Just too much. And so they broke up. He went back to Oklahoma. She's living with us. And so she's a big help to me and to her dad. And she brought along her dog. And so we actually have a 3-dog household. He cares for people in their home. And so when she's working, her dog's here with us. And so I'm a dog sitter besides having our 2 dogs. So it keeps me busy.
Yeah. So you said that you always had dogs. What is the special thing? What do you appreciate so much of dogs to really have the dogs, although they make you go out and take care for them and buy food and all these things? What is it what dogs mean to you?
oh, they just bring joy into your life. That's for us. When they're young, they entertain you, they dance around and they play and they just show off for you. And our newest dog, Baby, is a little dog, but littler than we've ever had before. She's about maybe 14 pounds, and she's my little lap cuddler.
Yeah.
It's just a whole new scene, because most of our dogs have been mid-sized to larger. Our other dog that we have is almost 15. She'll be 15 in a month, at least 15, because her age is a little bit estimated. And she's a yellow lab, or lab mix, and so she's a big dog. And here's little Baby. And Baby actually takes on Susie at times. And so I have to intervene. One time it got a little out of hand before I could intervene. And so we had a big vet bill, which, that came as a little of a surprise, but you kind of learn. As you go along with dogs, you learn a lot. You learn what works, you learn what doesn't work, you learn their personality. Each dog has a different personality. All the dogs we've had, well, since I was a child, all the dogs have a little different personality. They like this, they don't like that, or some are more cuddly, some are more show-offy. It's just fun.
Yeah.
It's a fun time.
A little bit like humans, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, some of them you could almost liken to certain humans,
Yes, in good ways and not so good ways.
Right.
Exactly, yeah. Well, the series of our shows that we're in right now is called Conscious Aging, and in that series we're looking at getting older from as many possible perspectives as we can think of, and so this aspect of old people and animals is something that is of particular interest. I know a lot of nursing homes and so forth and assisted living facilities have sort of resident dogs and cats because it seems to benefit the residents so much. Have you had some experience with those facilities?
When my husband went from the hospital into a care facility the one time he was in, I think, 4 weeks. The other time he went in for 6 weeks. And the 6-week one is when I got Baby, our little dog. And it was a facility that allowed pets. And so I took Baby in to meet him. Huh. And one of the other residents that we'd made friends with, a lady, Baby went up to her and hopped right up in her lap in the wheelchair. Kind of surprised all of us, but she thought that was great. She'd lost her dog some years before, and so she just thought that was wonderful.
Yeah,
so,
they are companions.
Some of the staff had their dogs there too, so I think people just enjoy animals. They enjoy watching them. Some didn't want to touch them. Mm-hmm. I don't know, allergies or just what, but most of the people were reaching their hand out to touch or talk or to them or different things. So it was interesting.
Mm-hmm. Before we continue, I wanted to acknowledge Roland, who is in the audience.
Oh, good.
And he is greeting you, Barbara. And he says that you have a story that is truly amazing, and we will have a difficult time wrapping our brains around it. So what is he talking about? Barbara, he says, brings light, cheer, and happiness wherever she is and goes. I think I can say truly yes to that.
Well, let's put her to the test. Let's see if she can keep us happy and cheerful. Oh, all right.
You mentioned age. To me, age is a number. it isn't a number to worry about, or, I mean, it's just a number. You age day by day. Some people, well, I was telling you folks, our son had a friend who at age 30 thought he was an old man. The minute he turned 30, he decided he was an old man.
Yeah.
And our son said, actually, he says his dad was the same way. Well, my folks, my dad lived to be 92. My mom lived to be 83. And I've surpassed my mom already. And I'm planning to live to be 101 if I can stay in good health.
All right.
Great, yeah. And I
That's
think
my
the
goal.
one-
So I figure, you know, that's kind of logical. She lived to 83, him to 92, so 101 for me, right?
Yep. And my mom got to 100, so I'm hoping
Wow.
to get there too, maybe a little further. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm hearing an echo.
I'm hearing
now.
an echo now too. Yeah, maybe
Well,
can you put on the earphones? That would be nice.
Yeah.
yeah.
So Roland says, half my life ago, more, I was a well-known shoe dog in Fresno. What does that mean? Do you know what that
A
means?
shoe dog. Oh, I don't know, Roland. You're going to have to tell us. Half my life ago, more, I was a well-known shoe dog in Fresno.
Oh, he sold shoes.
Oh, he
Roland
did.
used to
Oh,
sell
all right. Okay. All right.
And then he
was-
says, he said about Barbara, she might not keep you happy, Mark, but she will beyond the doubt keep her own.
Oh, Roland. You're so rational. Yes.
Anyway,
You know, I
let's-
think some of why Roland and I became friends online is because we both look at life in a positive way.
Yeah.
That, you know, I picked up on his message on LinkedIn and he on mine, and all of a sudden, I mean, you know, it was just logical. We became friends.
that brings me to the question, Barbara. How do you make it to be so alive and so happy, let's say, despite all the things you have still now and have gone through? Is it a decision that you made once, or is it just your spirit? Has it always been like this? And this is many questions together. And how do you handle days in which the challenges are coming forward?
Well, you know, I was looking back and I don't remember. I think I've been a positive person all my life. I don't remember looking at life in a negative way. Momentarily, yes. You know, I mean, everybody has their ups and their downs.
Sure.
So we have had downs too, but you just, by the next day, you tell yourself, okay, you know, we'll deal with it this way or some other way, you know, and you just go on. And where some people let it just totally throw them under the truck, you might say. I just am not that kind of person. I try and look for the positive route to take with life.
So you
Always.
say,
Is that an effort for you, or is
Yeah.
it just your nature and it just happens?
no, she says she tries to look.
She tries
So
to.
that means that she is conscious about it,
Uh-huh.
that she is trying to be on and keep the positive. While so many people, when they meet problems, they don't even try. They just and end up. And the more you end up in the negative and the suffering, victimized thing, the more difficult it is to come back. No, so.
And I think my inborn nature is positive. And then, but I mean, like I say, we've had our moments, you know, I try and let them be moments, not months and years and, you know, and because I don't like to be negative. We had, when I was young, maybe 12-ish, somewhere along in there, we had a neighbor. And I mean, we were young enough, we hadn't been exposed to my folks were always on the positive side. They went through the Depression after they had me and my sister. And one Christmas, I remember they gave us these little trial bottles of lotion. That was our Christmas gift. We thought it was wonderful. Adult lotion as a little kid. So, you know, it just, I think my upbringing, my just built-in nature, I'm more of a positive person. This lady, this neighbor, she was an RN, and she was such a down person, just such a down person that you didn't enjoy being around her. I limited, as a kid, I limited my time around her, tried to cheer her up just by being there, but it didn't work. And that was her life. She just lived down. So, you know, I find you have a lot more friends if you're upbeat than you do if you're down, a downer.
When you are a downer, you go ever more down because you get resentful because nobody wants to stay with you, but you don't realize that's because you are not pleasant to stay with, you know. So yeah. That is a message we need to say. And coming back to dogs, I think the spirit of a dog depends also on the owner.
Oh, yes.
What do you say about that?
Yeah, I agree. But you know, the dogs come with a happy spirit normally. Now, both of our dogs, when we got them, I don't think they'd had as happy a life before we got them. Mm-hmm. Our big dog, Susie, she was tied out in a dirt yard when we went to see her. We said, we met her and greeted her, and the fellow said they were moving and they couldn't take her with them. They were taking a smaller dog and a cat and I forget what all, but they couldn't take Susie. That wasn't the name he had for her. So we said, she just seemed so friendly and everything. And we said, yeah, we'd like to have her. So took her over to the car. He didn't even have a leash for her or anything, just had her tied with a rope out in the dirt yard. And so I took her leash. We had brought a leash with us, just looped it through the handle to make it stay around her neck, and took her to the car. She hopped in and she never even looked back. It was like she knew she was home.
Oh, wonderful. Mm-hmm.
Husband, do you remember what he said they called her? He says, I don't remember. So I said, well, we kind of had picked out the name Susie. And so I said, hey, Susie, how do you like that name? She wagged her tail and she was happy. She became Susie that moment. She didn't care what her previous name had been. She just was happy to be with us. So, and with Baby, her previous owner, she's a Jack Russell, maybe with a little rat terrier thrown in, is what the vet thought. And she, so very short, skimpy hair, not a heavy coat at all. Well, her previous owner had tied her out in the cold because she did her duty in the house instead of outdoors. Tied her out overnight, 2 different nights. Butchers. Well, Baby gets cold at 60 degrees. I can't even imagine the suffering she went through those nights. Yeah. So our daughter confiscated her. She got the gal that owned her, abandoned her while she went and did drugs and various things. And so our daughter confiscated her, and she says, no, you can't have her back. You mistreat her. And so we greeted her, and she was just thrilled to meet us and came home with us and just happy to be here. She's taken over my bed during the day. She has her own bed at night. but I have to coax her into it because she takes over.
I think the animals understand when somebody likes them and takes care for them and is liberating them from a bad situation. Here we see so many dogs are prisoners in small, very small, let's say, boxes.
Yes.
It's but you cannot take every dog, you know. It's a bit of a problem. Before we go on, I want to say hello to Bill Graham, and he says, "Nice to see my friend Barbara Quick, a great lady."
Yeah, that is. Oh. Well, I'm just saying, you know, with your attitude, I'm surprised you don't have dogs knocking at your door every other day, you know, asking to be admitted.
I would like to go back to the benefit which dogs have to older people, because you already named some that they bring delight, but not every dog might bring delight, you know. So what you need also to do something to create a relationship. You have described how to create a relationship with your dogs, you know. You liberated them and you took care for them, and they felt the emanation. They felt your spirit, and that's why they feel at home. So if somebody just takes a dog from somewhere and then waits for being delighted, that might not be the way to do it. So how can I say that? What do you need to be or to do as a human to really have the big delight which these animals can give you, and to have a good companion for your life? Because in older people's life, they often are alone, and nothing is better than to have an animal with whom to connect. But what do we need to do?
Well, to love them. You know, if they're younger, then have toys for them and play with them and encourage them to play, and you know, find the food that they enjoy eating, keep them healthy. For our big dog to be 15, I mean, that's an unusually old age for a big dog. And so, you know, evidently our love and caring has gotten her that old, and she still has her moments of joy. She comes hopping in. If we're going to go outside or something, she'll come bouncing in. Well, then our little dog baby thinks she wants to play. Well, no, Susie, our big dog, she just is happy, but baby thinks, oh, she's trying to play with me. So that gets interesting. But I think just they know if you care about them, they learn, you know, and they just give unconditional love. Dogs, if you care for them, they care for you.
So what people can learn is really to liberate themselves and to give love. Maybe they never could in their life, but now finally they can give love and see it immediately reflected, by the animals. Yeah.
Animals appreciate having someone care for them and love them. Yeah. You know, I mean, there may be dogs that have been in an abusive situation that they might have to learn to enjoy your care. And sometimes you have to get help to help them learn, you know.
Exactly. Yeah. I was thinking about before, when, for instance, our dog, when she was young, she sometimes, how do you call that? Pulled us almost the arm out. So if somebody in the 80s, for instance, takes a very young dog, I would think probably it's better to take an educated dog before falling over because of the temperament of a dog. What would you recommend? Do you know races or
breeds?
Of dogs who are especially recommendable for older people?
Well, I don't know for sure. Now, our little one, I mean, she can pull pretty good. some of it they have to learn not to. You have to kind of say, whoa, and kind of tighten up the leash a little. But I don't know now. I mean, Jack Russells are very peppy dogs.
Yeah.
For us, I enjoy that. I enjoy her spirit. Somebody else might want, maybe a Cocker Spaniel that's kind of quieter, or a poodle, a miniature poodle. We had a miniature poodle years and years ago, and they're a little more docile and probably would work better. Plus, any of our dogs, except for one, I guess the poodle is the only one we took as a baby, puppy, and all the rest were a year and a half or 2 years old, and that works better too, because they're a little bit calmer than they are when they're really, really young. And you might have to retrain them. If somebody's been abusive to them, you might have to have a little help retraining them, or if you're capable of it. Some dogs are real amiable to being retrained and into your ways and proper ways or whatever. But then some dogs you might have to have help with. And usually your vet can guide you to someone, if they can't do it themselves. Some of them have people on staff that do things like that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, we had a dog trainer for our dog, because she was she didn't want to obey at all, at the beginning. And we waited too long. We waited about a year until we found this lady. And actually, she educated more us than the dog.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes, they do. Yeah. They teach you how to teach your dog.
Yeah, and they also tell you what you think is not necessarily what the dog thinks. Mm-hmm. So that you have to enter into the ways dogs need to be treated so that they understand. And this was really an interesting.
It was
an interesting. I think we did 10 lessons or something with her. Mm-hmm. Now the only problem we still have is when she meets other dogs and is on the leash. Then she is, what our trainer said, she is defending us and is barking like mad, Yeah. And we still need this little bit to get it a little bit better. But
so it makes her not a good city dog.
Yeah. Well, and Susie is like that. Susie is pretty much deaf. She can hear me whistle. She can hear the other dogs bark. But unless it's a kind of a sharp sound, she cannot hear. You talk to her and she can't necessarily hear you. And so if she sees other people and other dogs, she barks frantically, and she's got a big bark. And one day she got away from me. She had done her duty out in the yard, and I was busy picking it up. And I guess the leash was loose in my hand. And she went running at this lady with 2 little dogs. And I thought, oh my goodness, it scared me to death. I thought, if those dogs bark, she's likely to think they're coming after her or something and get them. And by the time I got to them, she and the other 2 dogs are sitting looking at me. All in a little group. Because she took off. She just pulled the leash right out of my hand, and it scared me to death, but it all worked out okay. But luckily the other dogs didn't bark, and so she didn't see them as an attacker or anything. But I don't know. I haven't quite figured out. I think she's protecting me. Mm-hmm. She sees the other people and dogs as maybe me, and so she's protecting me. But then again, she might be thinking of protecting herself. I'm not quite sure on that.
I think our dog teacher said that she's mainly protecting you.
Yeah.
And
I think maybe.
Yeah, and that's her duty. Yeah. And so it's also a bit difficult to tell her not to do it, because that's what she wants to do. She is so loyal to us, no? And it's her
it's her
job.
Nature, her job, her role. Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's true.
Have you ever had I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you.
No, that's okay.
Have you ever had a dog who, except for maybe bad health or something, that you've had to let go of and just didn't work out for you?
Oh, no, not really that. We never had one that didn't work out, but
Good.
we did have one just ahead of Susie. We had another big dog. She was a lab golden mix and bigger than Susie, actually. And she got cancer in her older age,
Yeah.
and, which I understand kind of goes with the breed and even the mixed breed. And so we had to finally have her put down. She would come to Cliff. At that time, my husband was able to walk the dog. And so she would come to him and beg for a walk every single day. And so he'd take her out walking. And it was kind of funny. He wore his dark glasses and he had, I forget, I think he had a golf club with him because they'd had a problem with a neighbor dog trying to attack our dog. And so he could threaten it with the golf club and, chase it away. And so people would see him and they thought he was blind and then the dog was a blind dog. And she was a big golden lab mix, and which many of them are. And so we laughed as some of our friends would say, "Oh, I saw Cliff walking your dog, and he just looked like he was a blind man. She was leading him."
That's funny.
It was hard having her put down, but she got to a point where she just couldn't stand anymore. And so the vet came to the house actually and gave her shots until she was gone.
Yeah,
And
I had to do it with many cats who had cancer too. That's the question. Have you ever had cats? Do you have experience with cats or only dogs?
When I was young, I had a friend who had a cat, and I was holding, in fact, a young kitten, not really young, but still kitten. I was holding it and petting it, and all of a sudden it looked between the houses and saw a dog or another cat clear over on the street. And those claws went into me so hard.
Yeah.
That kind of spoiled it for me for cats. And then we had a neighbor that had 3 cats, and their house was just full of cat hair. Theirs were long-haired cats. And if you walked in the door, for me, I guess I was very allergic to their hair and dander and all. And the minute I'd walk in their door, allergies would just hit me to where I couldn't hardly breathe.
Oh.
And dogs I have managed okay with, but it kind of those two things sort of led me not to have a cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, for some people, the cats are ideal because they don't have to be taken out into the
for a walk.
for a walk and for other things. And that comes me back to ask you, isn't it sometimes hard, or is it, how do you see that? Is it good for you to go out all the time and take them for potty?
I think that, again, kind of keeps me young. We go out in the rain and the wind and everything, and that's a little distasteful to them and to me. But, it's up and down those 6 steps with each dog. And so, I'm sure that's good for my health.
And it's probably also, you have to do it. You cannot say, "Oh, I'm going into depression today, I don't want to, blah, 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 blah." You just, the animals need you and you have to do it. And isn't it a great possibility to stay up with the spirit? I mean.
Oh, yeah. Because, they need to go out. And if you do this for them by taking them out, well, you're helping them, but like I say, you're also benefiting getting out there yourself.
And that's what I would like to recommend to people, especially when they get older, to think about something in their lives where they are sort of forced to not let go of everything and stay in bed and go into depression, but have something which is worthwhile to get up in the morning and to go out and be active. That's animals are perfect for that, aren't they?
Oh, definitely. And if they have too many health problems and can't manage a dog or a cat, they could always have a fish or something like that. Something that needs their care.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Because to be needed is another thing that I think is good for people.
Well, speaking of taking care, we have 5 cats. 2 of them have a room downstairs where they sleep.
Where they eat also, because everybody needs special food because of the.
But in the morning now, I've been getting up early, letting the dog out and feeding the 3 upstairs cats, and then tiptoeing back into the bedroom where this lady has been. And this is a real treat for her because she has never slept in till, oh my God, 8 o'clock or whatever, and now she is, and I consider that a great victory for me. I get plus points in heaven here for this.
I bet.
So I would like to go back to our audience. There is Roland. He is busy writing.
He is. Yeah.
First, a while ago, he wrote pet the dog, the minimum.
Absolutely.
And then dogs respond to polarity, positive and negative. They just want to tune positive. I do think so.
Sure.
Yeah. I think when dogs or also cats are bad, let's say aggressive, that's not because they are. I think they have been treated badly in some way, so that that's their way of defending themselves. I just don't believe that an animal in itself is bad and aggressive and tries to hurt you or something. It's just not. If humans have not interfered.
Roland has a big dog.
Yeah, then he says my 80, is it pound? German Shepherd knocked me on my
butt.
That is bad with all these fixes, but was just having fun. I believe that.
Well, once in a while, Susie, like I say, she dances and jumps when we're going to go out or whatever, even when she's getting food or treats. And once in a while, she'll run into my leg. And, to her, she's not doing anything bad. But I have to really watch it because, if she catches me off balance, that's going to take me down.
Yeah. To me, it happened that the dog we had before, he always went right into my way. And sometimes you don't, and then I fell over him. It happened twice to me.
Oh, yeah, both of our dogs are real bad about getting right where they know you're going to walk.
Yeah.
And so you're always saying, look out, look out, look out.
It is so sweet on the other hand, no, isn't it? When they want just to be there where you are and be in the way, so you have to consider them. But if you don't be attentive, you fall over them. That's
exactly. I don't know, baby. Hey, baby.
Oh yeah, let her come. Roland wants to be asked about cats.
That's me.
Let me see. Roland, I post you the link and come in and tell us something about your cats, okay?
So. Yeah, say hello.
Is she here?
Yeah.
Oh, there she is. There's baby.
Hello, baby.
Hello, baby. A little bit. What's going on, huh?
Yeah. Does she have a shawl around the head, or what is it?
She's got a little collar.
Okay.
Yeah. Tangling my cord. There we go.
Oh yeah, now I see it. That's her color, the white color.
Yeah. She's not a miniature. She's a decent-sized dog. Yeah.
She's a decent-sized dog. Yeah. So she has now her internet appearance.
Debut. A sneeze?
She got scared. Her feet started to slip. It's okay, honey.
Yeah.
You got my earbud now.
Do we get our dog up now? Show her off.
Okay, let her. Let
Okay.
her
Without
come up
the
here.
earbud. Yeah.
Without the earplug.
All right.
Okay.
Hey, Lucky. Come here.
So we do the
Come on, Lucky.
the dog exchange. I don't know if he makes it because this is really a little bit a bigger dog here.
This is a big, 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 big dog. Oh, oh, yeah.
Dear.
Yeah, no.
She has slept.
Awakened from sleep to be
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So maybe she's kissing him.
Uh, I'm not so much about dog kisses.
Okay. This is Lucky.
But
Lucky
really,
Fortunato.
it is so, I cannot imagine a life without these animals. It is so, so rich. And then sometimes you meet people, dogs and cats. They miss out such a lot in life, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you know, I had one person that I thought, well, they're not a dog person apparently. I was saying how actually one of our pastors would bring her little dog to the church there. I worked as a church secretary for years, 30 years. And so till I was 81, actually. And she had her little dog there. And so the dog, I forget if the dog needed water or something, and I got it for it. And it was just all happy, and it was giving me little kisses and everything. And I happened to comment, and this one lady, this other lady says, oh, they don't give kisses. They don't know, they don't understand what you're doing. Like that. And I thought, you're not a dog person or a pet person, apparently. So, and you do find people who, like you say, are like, ooh. Yeah. They don't understand how much of a benefit it is.
And, I go so far to say people who really have this reaction towards dogs, they probably have the same reaction towards humans, because this is the animal part in humans, we have it too, if you are like this. And
oh, yeah.
So for me, having animals is a really good way to get to know yourself also,
Oh, sure.
I don't know if you know, but I have a website which is called my-cat.org, where I write stories about the cats I had. And I describe how often I have learned from them and what I have learned from them. Because at the beginning, I was also fearful of cats, and then I learned so much about my own behavior and about the behavior of other people, because I realized that much what the animals do is exactly what humans do,
Oh.
Yeah. Well, and, you can kind of tell too, like, who tried to be kind to animals, to like her dog and everything. But like she said, he tried so hard. The dog never really warmed up to him. There was just something there. The dog knew he wasn't real in. They sense if you're very, kind of standoffish with animals, they know. Mm-hmm. But if you like animals, or even, I think people maybe could learn to enjoy animals. I don't know. I'm not sure. But you can tell the dogs, I know with our dogs and like she said with her dog, there's certain people that they just crave being around. You say, oh, we're going to go to so-and-so's house. Oh, the dog is right at the door waiting. And, and then other people maybe come over and are just kind of about the animal. And the dogs, they sense that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I think up to a certain degree, people can learn that if they want to. You have to be open. If you go with prejudice and say, dog, and but if you say, I try, let me see a little bit. We had once a course here, and there was a woman in the group, and she wanted, that was the dog before, she wanted to have him bound, because she was fearful of dogs. And so, okay, we bound him. And then slowly, and after 2 weeks, she was able to touch him. So that was a great success. But yeah, sometimes it takes time, you know. So if somebody is listening who is fearful of dogs, it doesn't mean that you have to stay fearful of dogs. You can learn it, you know, up to a certain degree.
You know, even if you go to the shelter and you will find some dog that is right there at the gate wanting to learn to like you. It's really interesting because one of our dogs, well, the one that had cancer, we got from the shelter, and they found her on the street and nobody claimed her. And so all the dogs were barking and you know, as we went through the shelter, and this dog was right at the edge, wanting out to get to us, barking and excited to see us. It was like she knew us, only she didn't. And so, you know, she almost bonded before we ever even got to her. She was waiting for us, like, and you know, so it's real interesting. Certain, you know, some certain animal may be attracted to a certain person. It almost seems that way sometimes.
Yeah.
So it was like she was just waiting in the shelter for us to come along. Yeah. And so that was kind of interesting too.
Well, I'm noticing how much smarter the animals get as I get smarter. Looking back over my life, and I've always been around animals, sometimes not paying much attention to them because they were just there. They were part of the household. They were there, blah, blah. But as I got older, I began to see more depth in them, more possibilities, more communication on some level or other. And I'm just really delighted that this has actually been a co-evolution. It's not just me growing up or just the dogs growing up. It's both of us growing up and developing and reaching new levels for each of us.
Levels of love and affection.
Yeah, exactly.
No?
You know?
Yeah, I think so too. I agree.
Yeah.
And they have stages just like people do that they go through as they age. And actually, Susie, our big dog, there was a time when she could still hear that she actually would talk. She'd hear us say some certain word, and by golly, she would say it and at a proper time, you know. Like we'd say to her, "Do you have to go out?" She'd, or yeah, that was her other.
Yeah. Yeah.
I forget, there was some other word that she said too, that she'd heard us, and then, you know, then we would just kind of emphasize that to her. Can you say, you know, whatever? And but there was some other word that she copied, and we thought, and we kind of looked at each other and what? And then we had one dog way back when we were first married, early on in our marriage.
Oh, that was a long time ago. Yeah.
It was 61 years, 61 and a half years.
Yeah, wow.
A lifetime ago.
So, Barbara, you said you write a book. Is it about these stories?
I'm going to be writing a book, yes, about all the different animals that we've had, and the cute tales about them. This dog would say, "I want my mama." And we looked at each other and we said, "Did she just?" No, that was our only male dog. Did he just say that? And we'd say it back to him, and he'd repeat it like a little parrot. Say it again. and we had friends over and family over, and we'd say it to him and he'd say it again. It was so funny.
I have never heard that. This is really amazing.
But he said it first. So he learned it somewhere. And we were just picking up, oh, he said words. And then our daughter's dog says, if you pet it, it goes, mama, mama, mama. And it got to say, I'd say to it, no, I'm grandma. Can you say grandma? And when she'd not be there, and so he started saying, grandma, which sounds so funny, but it was just when we would pet him. And the rest of the time, he didn't talk. He barks a lot, but he didn't talk. And then when we'd pet him, he'd talk and talk and talk. So that was funny too.
Oh, yeah.
Never heard about talking dogs.
Now you have.
Yep, now you have. I wish we'd had a video recorder or something at the time, but we didn't.
Yeah, but fine. Yeah. So, Barbara, you have a website already. There are some stories and something. Would you like to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I've the last couple of years I haven't done anything on my websites, but there are stories there. I started out writing them in blogs, and I ended up thinking, after a few times of writing things, I thought, no, it'd be cuter if Susie was saying these things. Mommy told me so-and-so about that dog or whatever. So I've got a lot of stories in there right now. And some I have to kind of redo. They kind of got lost along the way because it's kind of moved around a little bit. And but I'll be adding to it. It's just, for a couple of years, I've just been kind of swamped with things and haven't had much time to write. But I've been writing the books in my head. And even some of the things I'm going to put in the website, it starts out up here first, and then it gets into the computer after I get a chance to work on it.
So you also are an example, a perfect example of how to get older, take on the challenges of working on the computer, not saying, oh, technology, it's all too difficult, I'm too old. No, you do it. And you're
you're planning a book, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
It's really
to me, the computer is a stress reliever too.
Yeah.
Some of my days sometimes can be pretty stressful, and I can relax. I can get on the computer. I can check and see what friends are doing, watch some of the webinars that teach you about writing the books and publishing the books and things like that. And so I find it as kind of a stress reliever if they don't want a whole computer, a laptop, or maybe even just a tablet. It is something, it's another outlet. And as you get older, you need to have outlets. We go to church every Sunday. Once in a great while, weather or health keeps us from church. But, we've got friends there too. They're like another family. And we both have lost our parents years ago now. And so that's our other family. And so it's, as you age, you need those connections. That helps too. It helps a lot.
That is something that all the research shows, that the older we get, the more important we feel about the quality of the relationships we have with friends, with family, of course, with spouse, and so on too.
And animals.
And animals, yes.
Yes, and animals.
You bet.
Yeah, when we had to have Goldie, that was the dog that had cancer, when we had to have her put down, it was only 3 weeks later that we got Susie.
Yeah.
Those were the longest 3 weeks. We just needed another dog, and we'd
Yeah.
always just had one dog at a time. Well, it's a little bit more hectic with two at a time now,
Yeah.
but it's still, we just love each of them in their own way. We enjoy both of them. Uh, Susie is old and can't play like she used to. She
Mhm.
used to make a race up and down the whole length of the mobile home. And now she can't do that anymore, but she'll go by and she'll see one of her toys laying and she'll give it a little nudge or maybe a little tap it with her foot or something, and then walk on by. And she is satisfied. She played for that little second.
Good.
And
Yeah.
How is it with your husband, who is seems to be a little impaired? How is he enjoying the animals?
Mhm.
What does it for him?
every once in a while, baby will be up in his lap. He's sitting there holding her, kind of looking a little worried, you know, but worried that she's going to fall, kind of, I think is what worries him. And but they both are sitting there totally happy. And he'll reach down to pet Susie as she's coming by, or if he has a little treat for her or something, well, he'll reach down and pet her. And you know, they don't. He talks very, very softly, and he doesn't think very fast, very quickly, and so sometimes they've already turned away by the time he thinks of their name or whatever. So they probably react more with me just because he's a little bit more withdrawn. And so, you know, it's that part is hard. It's hard. You know, I wish that he was able to enjoy them more than he does, but he enjoys watching them
Good.
a lot of times.
This is
Baby will
good.
get a toy. She'll get a loud squeaky toy. And squeak it and squeak it. Well, you can't miss that. So he's sitting laughing and watching her a lot of times.
So animals can bring us joy. We are almost at the end of the hour. Barbara, what would you say to people who are watching and are getting a little older? How could you encourage them to try it?
Oh, well, hopefully they do try. If they don't want to own an animal, go to the pet shelter and maybe help feed animals or something like that. A lot of the pet shelters look for people to help.
Sure.
And, you know, if they don't feel like they want an animal in their house, or maybe where they live, they can't have an animal, well, then, you know, to do something like that. But if they can have an animal at their home, it's wonderful. My brother was always a dog person, but now he's older. And so he's changed into a cat person now, and he's enjoying his cat. And so it's just something, it's company. They're company to you. They do have an element of entertainment for you. They brighten your day. They do brighten your day. And if you love them, they love you back unconditionally.
This is so true. They love you back and they take care for you.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
They take care of us. Mhm.
If you're not feeling well one day, your animal is right there kind of moping, you know, you don't feel good, oh, you know, and they sense a lot. And, you know, and then, I mean, you do the same for them. If they don't feel good, you know, you kind of worry about them. Well, they kind of do the same thing with you.
Yeah. You know, as life grew up on this earth, mammals invented emotions, you know, and we share that as mammals. We share the emotions with them. You know, they have a rich, rich emotional life. You know, they may not have the intellect, that came later, but boy, the emotional part is such an easy way to relate to them.
Yeah.
You know? Oh, definitely. Definitely. And, you know, sure, they may not be able to do everything people can do, but they do love their people. They love whoever cares for them. You know, like I say, they love you unconditionally. They can't stand it till you come home. They hate to see you leave. So
Yeah,
it's
true,
just,
they do.
it makes life fuller.
Yeah.
It makes life more beautiful to have
Yes.
an animal, a living creature. And you know, just for the end, to hear their breath also, that it makes you understand that there is some life, that you are alive and other life is around you. And this is just
Yes.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I think they keep you young, you know. And
you
we
see it with you. You are young. Yeah, wonderful.
Is it working for us?
Are you young?
Oh, yeah, right. Sure.
You are
John,
57.
I look at age. I've always looked at age as a number. You age one day at a time. You don't age 1 year. Somebody will say, "Oh, another year." No, you're aging one day at a time. And you know, why look at a whole year? You know, you age one day.
Yes.
Yeah, and when we keep the spirit like you do, and like I hope we are sort of doing too, so
Yep.
there is no fear about getting older. It's
No.
just, it's fine. It's fine.
Well, getting older business is quite an adventure. Wow.
Yes.
Whoa.
Our life is crazier and busier now than when we were young.
That's right. It is.
Oh, Barbara, it was so nice to chat with you.
Yeah.
Really, really, really. And I really hope that people who watch this now or later get the transmission of your spirit, you know, and even if they cannot live with an animal, but at least try it and get the positive spirit you are showing.
Yeah.
So getting older is no problem.
That's right.
Yeah. All right.
And you stay healthier. You really stay healthier if you have a positive spirit.
Absolutely.
And you are the proof of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very, very much. And thank you everybody who has watched and has left the comments, like Roland has written like mad. I didn't tell them all these comments. Roland has written a book. You might go afterwards and see all his comments. Thank you. Thank you, Roland. Thank you, Bill, and the other people who have been here, who we don't know who they are.
Yep.
And when you watch the video later in our YouTube channel, like us, like the video, leave your comments, and subscribe to our channel. And we have also an animal channel, which is called Lucky and Her Cats, because Lucky is the black dog you saw before. So subscribe also there. Okay.
Right.
And thank you, Barbara. Thank you very much. And we will have another conversation.
It's been a real treat, Barbara.
Yeah. Thank you.
You.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.